Hello and welcome to the ORCA Pod, the Apex Predators of Australian Survivor LRG podcasting. We are here back once again talking about Backyard Survivor 5, One Well. What a fantastic episode. Some really interesting production decisions that I can't wait to get into with my fellow ORCA. Joining me for just a one-on-one ORCA this week is Jules. Welcome, Jules.
Hello. There is so much to talk about this episode. I think I've got the most notes that I've got for any other episode so far.
It's probably a good thing that Danny's not here. We miss Danny, but if we had all three of us talking about this episode, it could go for 2 hours. So it's probably a good time to just have you and I. Well, Danny
I'm never going to agree that it's a good thing that we don't have Danny because we all know I'm a Danny stan, but hopefully we'll be all right without her.
Content thinks is relevant, but she's hobnobbing with the glitterati, as they would say on the Rahab. So here we are, just the two of us, but I'm sure we'll bring all the great content. I've got an interview with Cath, which we'll be throwing up in a moment, and then we'll get on with the rest of the program. Do we want to talk about redemption before we get to the interview? What's with Luke wandering around with his top off? What do you think about that?
Look, I'm sure there were people that enjoyed that. I was not one of them, but hey, good for you, Luke.
It's a bold move.
He's looking for an idol. Dude, there's no idol. It's redemption.
Forest, just in the middle of the desolate forest. It's not the beach. Just want to show the guns, I suppose.
And that was random. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a random choice.
Look, I'm sure it was a very hot day, so, some guys just like to take their shirts off when it's hot.
Would he have had sufficient sunblock? I don't know, So I'm going to bring up the interview, and then I'm going to talk about the challenge and the thing that I think that is a bit of a controversial position. So let's bring in the interview with Cath that I recorded earlier today, and then we'll get back.
Sad to see her go.
It was so sad.
I was hoping for
to
the one that
ORCA
goes through.
Pod, so great to have you, but obviously so sad for you to go out so soon. You flew halfway across the country. Kyle got you to come because you played some orgs together. But obviously it probably didn't go the way you went. How do you feel about the whole experience?
Look, I loved the whole experience. I loved being a part of it, and, meeting Kyle and everyone was just amazing. But obviously it didn't go as well as I hoped it would go. Had a bit of a tough week leading up to flying over to Perth. So hadn't really slept in a few days, just with stuff happening at home, and it is what it is, but I still don't regret it. I would do it all again in a heartbeat.
Did you you mentioned on the show that you'd had some issues, I think perhaps some deaths in the family you mentioned. Was there any possibility of you pulling out, or were you absolutely like, no matter what, I'm going to get there and give this a crack?
No, I did contemplate pulling out, of course. My kids were upset with the things that had happened at home, and to leave them at that time was really tough. Of course, it was always in the back of my mind how they were going, if they were okay.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I just wanted to... I didn't want to disappoint Kyle and Brian, and I'd already paid for my flights and everything. So yes. It was, but I pretty much had to come straight back home, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Straight after.
But good for you though. Like a lot of mothers, will rarely take the time to do something for themselves, to prioritize themselves. I think mothers find that very difficult, but I think it's something that you do need to do sometimes, and this was a once in a lifetime opportunity that you took. Do you think there's anything, do you reflect on your game? Is there stuff that you think you could have done differently?
Absolutely. Hindsight is just a bitch. Of course. I mean, I love Survivor, and I do consider myself a really strategic player, but just not being in the right headspace, and then having lose every challenge in the small tribe, and then losing my vote. Like,
Yeah.
But in hindsight, I do think that I should have spoken to Mel a lot more at the start. I really wanted to work with Mel and Jess.
Yeah.
And I probably should have locked that in a bit better than I did. And also, I don't think I would have told them I lost my vote. I think I should have kept that to myself and tried to get Jess and Mel on board to vote Zoe without letting them know that their 2 votes would be the only 2 votes for her, but it would have sent her home. Yeah, a lot of things I would have done differently, but
I think though it would have been very difficult. Like as you say, everything that could have gone wrong did go wrong for you in terms of the tribe, losing the challenges. You couldn't have realistically kept Luke because he was pitting you and Mel against each other anyway.
yeah,
On the next vote, yeah, okay, maybe if you've got a relationship with Mel, then it's going 2-2, but is that going to work out? And even if you get saved over Mel, well, you're probably losing the next challenge anyway, like they did, and you're getting voted out where Mel got voted out. So it seems like to me there's not much you could have done.
yeah, it was a tough position to be in, like really. But gosh, I wish we could have just stayed like we did at the start, that one big tribe, or split into 2, or I don't know, because I had made a lot of really good connections with some other people who I didn't end up on a tribe with.
Yeah. Who were they? Who were the people that you were hoping to be with?
Haley,
Mm-hmm.
DC, Marc,
Yeah.
Altus, Jacob, Tara, like heaps of people.
So perhaps your regret is not pushing harder. That we should actually change up the tribes. Let's not just go with this set motion.
Yeah, I really I would have loved to have just drawn straws and leave it to chance. And when everyone sort of just decided to go with Tara's idea of staying in the groups we were in the first challenge, I was quietly really disappointed. I was like, I mean, I did like Mel, Luke, and Jess. I didn't really vibe with Zoe, and she'd probably say the same thing about me.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's just we didn't really talk a lot, straight up. And when we did talk, it was very generic.
Yes.
It wasn't chat, or we didn't sort of get that vibe, I guess, from the start. Not to say I don't like Zoe, but on that tribe, I feel like I gelled with Luke, even though he was pitting us against each other, which surprised me because I thought we got along really well. Like we were having a bit of fun together. But the other thing is too, like having to go to every tribal from the start, we didn't get camp time, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So, we were rushing back and forth from challenge to tribal confessionals, the summit, and it moved so fast.
Yes.
So yeah, there's just a lot of factors.
I think you just had incredibly bad luck, and then you did a fantastic job at the redemption challenge. That wasn't easy. You were right there for most of it. You were tied. I actually think there's a slight controversy with it that I'll be talking about in the show that in your favor. Oh, so tune in.
Oh, okay.
Slight controversy.
I'd like if it goes in my favor. That's
you should
cool.
be complaining to the producers, but we'll talk about that when we get to the show. I don't want to double count it here. But you put in a massive effort, and I think you should be proud of everything you did. I don't think you did anything wrong. Like, in the end of the day, every move you made was sensible, and I don't think you had any other alternatives. So I think you should be really proud, and obviously proud of the game that you played and wanted to play, but equally, noting that just you had a bad run of luck.
Yeah.
That happens sometimes.
Oh, look, that's kind of the story of my life. So I wasn't shocked by that at all. But like as we said, there's hindsight there, a couple of things that I've thought in watching it back that I should have done differently or could have done differently. But you're right. It was a pretty just tough situation to be in. Like we just, like I said, we didn't have the time to. We just didn't have time to do anything, and and losing your vote in a 4-person vote, like.
I suppose the one regret you might have was clarifying at the tribal council that you couldn't play a shot in the dark, because they seemed very confused about that. And I don't know if that was the edit, but it seemed like maybe they were thinking about voting out Mel on that basis.
Well, the thing about that is when I watched it back and saw Jess at the first summit, and they all opened in front of each other.
Yeah.
And Jacob said to her, like, he read it out that you don't only lose your vote, but you can't use your shot in the dark. So I was kind of like, oh, so Jess knew.
Yes.
Jess kind of knew that I couldn't use my shot in the dark. And then Zoe going through my bag probably could have solidified that to the girls. But, I did forget to mention it. And, like I said, it was all so rushed.
You're actually right. They already knew. What you said at tribal council wouldn't have made a difference, especially once they went through your bag. But as I say,
cheeky bitches.
That's a great way to end the interview. The cheeky bitches who got you. A fantastic character on the show. We really loved your energy and your warm emotion that was out there. That's always great to see. Obviously, you really wanted to do better, but I think even the small time you were on our screens, you really brought a lot of yourself and a really wonderful person and character that we got to see, and that was really fantastic. So thank you for that.
No worries, CK. Nice to meet you.
You too.
But yeah, I wish I could have gone longer. I really do, because it was so much fun.
Well, they're always cast. They're always looking for women in these things. So you never know. Maybe we'll see you again one day, hopefully.
Oh, if I didn't live in the middle, not the middle, but the top of nowhere, Australia, it might be a bit easy.
It's a big commute. I get it. It
is.
Hopefully one day we see you again. But thanks for you joining us, Cath, and we'll be seeing you in the chat. You've obviously been very active there, and it'll be great to see you for the rest of the season.
I can't wait to see you, T, about the challenge.
Oh, you'll be getting fired up in the chat, I promise you.
Oh my gosh, okay.
Right.
I probably haven't even noticed it, so yeah.
We'll see you there. Okay,
All
great.
right, buddy.
Thanks, Cath. Okay, bye.
See ya. Bye.
Okay, so I've obviously built it up a bit, this interview. The fact was, look, in my experience, Backyard can have its own rules, but in my experience watching Survivor, you're muted, Jules. What's going on? I've got to unmute you. Is that what you're saying?
Wait. Sorry, my internet was glitching, but I'm back. Sorry, what were you saying?
So, Backyard can have their own rules, but in my years of watching Survivor, when you're doing a tower building challenge and your tower falls over, you have to go back to the start. Yes. And that includes any pieces that might be in your hands or in your tool that you're using for the task. And there was one point right near the end, in fact, to the point where they got to the tied tower at the end of the 10 minutes, that Luke's tower fell, but he had one in his holder. When it fell, he put it on and then proceeded to restart. I think that one should have been disqualified, which in fact would have given Cath the win.
Okay, so I'll be honest. When I did my second watch of the episode, I kind of skipped over the challenge. So I forgot about that. But as you said it, you are exactly right. I am going to actually agree with you. My issue that I had with it, and I don't know if this was their choice or what they did. So obviously there was a line on the ground where they had to stand behind. But we don't see them really coming around. Were they not allowed to come around and have a look? Because both of them, their tower started leaning towards them, which is something that you can't see if you're in front. You need to step to the side, have a look. Oh, shit, I need to straighten this up. So I don't know if they weren't allowed to come around, but if they weren't, that's also an issue.
I feel that perhaps they weren't. It was easier just to say you got to stay behind the line. It's probably easier.
Fair enough for you to stay behind it to put it on. I have no issue with that, but to not be able to come out and have a look.
Yeah, but then that's probably, I don't know, it's probably making it a bit awkward for the production just to be judging it. But I feel like they missed a real sitter there.
Yeah.
It did impact the outcome. And look, they can have their own rules. They can say that's fine and that's how they want to adjudicate the challenge, and that's perfectly fine. But that's just not how they've done it in Real Survivor, in my experience. But, things happen. Didn't Ben have an upside down U that got through once for
No, he got said no for that.
Oh no, but there's other ones that had upside down letters. In other that fans went back and found once that one was like a whole thing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Anyway, that's Redemption. Luke's still there. We'll see him face off against this week's boot, Mel, next week. We'll have to see how that goes. Now, where do you want to start? Do you want to start at the start?
I reckon we start at the beginning because there's a lot this episode.
Okay.
And I think also with the boot, we love Mel, but I think this was fairly obvious that was going to happen. I don't think there was much of a decision to be made. So we don't really need to get into the vote too much.
Well, now I'm going to go to the end because you've led me into it. Sorry. I want to give I just criticized production, and now once again, I would like to gush over productions.
I love the way this was edited.
Of how they edited this fairly straightforward tribal council. Masked for work.
It's got to be hard to edit a 3-person tribal because if you, me, and Danny are on a tribe, if you and I having a conversation, we're saying Danny.
Yes.
Me and Danny having a conversation, we're talking about that. You can't really show the strat because we know what it's going to be. You only really need to see their confessionals to see who they want out. And if you show that, it's making it very straightforward when they don't want us to know exactly what's going to happen. So yes. I love that it was more, here's tribal, we'll pepper it a little bit back and forth, and that's all we need to do. So yeah, I agree. It was very well edited.
It was an absolutely brilliant idea. It hasn't been done before in the Australian LRG community to edit an episode that way. Brave choice, but incredibly effective. Kept the tribal council incredibly interesting as a result. Kept the episode flowing really well. Even the way they did the idol parts of it that really flowed in as well, with Jess looking for the idol. Just an absolutely magnificent piece of work, and my hat's off to them for taking that bold step and editing that tribal council.
And they did a good job. They had me fooled for a second when Zoe is the person talking and we're not seeing her vote. I'm like, are we about to get a Jess blindside? Like I thought that for half a second. So as much as it was a straightforward vote, they gave me a bit of a question mark. I
never really thought. I thought Jess and Zoe are just locked in. They've been locked in.
No, I know, but the fact that it was Zoe whose vote they're not showing, I'm like, surely it's Zoe's voting for Mel and Mel's voting for Zoe. It's Jess is the only vote that we need to matter. So I was like, ooh. Well,
the People's Champion remains alive and kicking. We haven't talked too much about Zoe and the efforts as the People's Champion. She's been to every tribal council, but I've never really been worried for her.
Her and Jess are doing very well. I think now that we've had, we're going into a swap next week, I think they're going to be in a great spot.
Yeah, they're good. All right, so that's the tribal council. I don't know if we need to talk too much more about that, but we can flip back to the start now, like you want to do.
Start. We'll walk our way through. We'll skip over tribal, and then we'll talk about after tribal at the end because I think that's very interesting. But we start on the green tribe, but it's all just them being sad about Cath, whatever.
Eden approves.
Yeah, look, I think I said this already, but I won't lie. I had Zoe low on my list. When she got spun up as the People's Champion, I was sort of like, I don't think so. But I've been very, very impressed. I'm happy that I'm being proven wrong so far.
She's in such a strong position to make the top 5 because I don't see her being. She's going to get through the swap phase, and I just don't see her being a target early merge.
I think at merge, her and Jess are going to, if they're both there, they're going to be numbers that people want to scoop up.
And if they're worried about their pair, I think Jess is the one that people would be threatened by.
Are people going to be worried about? I mean, it's going to be very obvious that they're a pair, but is that too much of an issue straight at merge, or is that something you worry about a bit closer?
I think later. I think two's not really a pair's not that big of a deal if they don't have other relationships. The
Danny's here commenting.
No, she wasn't available. What's going on?
Look, she's watching. She just doesn't have the most reliable internet at the moment, which, I don't have the most reliable internet anyway. I'm still here, but, whatever.
They said that Jess and Zoe were tight because they were twinning.
Right? That's what I've been saying this whole time.
Well, it was also right from the start. They paired up on that challenge together. Then Jess gave Zoe the advantage for the idol. Like, they've been
Mel did.
Mel did. My apologies. Anyway, they were just... Sorry, I got that wrong. Sometimes I get things wrong. Not in last week's 12th, but sometimes.
Sometimes you get things wrong. I'm going to have to screen record that and save it. You never admit that.
Not in last week's 12th, though. That I got everything. Danny, if you're here when we do 12th, come on so you can put up the comments, please. because we like to hear your comments and people wowing over my success. Okay, continue on with the Green. Very sad. Mel was very sad. I can tell you what, Mel wasn't sad like that when she booted me out of Drunk Viber. Or you.
It's Drunk Viber. Get over it.
Or you.
No, Mel didn't vote me out of Drunk Viber. Carl voted me out with one vote. Anyway, so so we go to the Orange camp. They're just talking about how awesome they were in that challenge. Like, they were dislocating their shoulders, giving themselves pats on the back. Like, it was a bit much. It was very ORCA. That whole tribe probably deserves the ORCA award this week. In particular,
what was the bit about Pink throwing away one of the...
I'm getting to that. That's literally my next line, other than especially Hayley is talking about how awesome she was. But yeah, so they started off with 6 sandbags. They broke one straight away. It happens. But then they show footage, and it did happen. Takan picked up one of theirs. I think he picked it up by mistake, realized it was orange, and threw it away. So they had one less sandbag. Tara saying Drunk Viber canon matters.
It matters. I love that from Takan. Sneaky Takan.
That's so
I love
sneaky.
it. I love it, Takan. That's
well done. Of course you love it.
I'm into that. That's the sort of energy we want to see. Keep that going. Like, lie, cheat, and steal, baby. Like, it's there's no ethical way to win Survivor. You just win.
Correct. Megan's talking about the summit. She told everyone about the extra vote. I think this is the right move. The extra vote is not that powerful. She's trying to make herself valuable to the rest of the tribe. I think telling them about an extra vote, I think that's a good thing.
Yeah. Well, everyone's sharing all sorts of information in this tribe about advantages and whatnot. So, everyone's going to the summit now. Everyone knows you're going to get something or not get something.
Yeah.
There's going to be so many extra votes floating around that they're like, the value is diminished.
I think merge is going to be just insane. Like, it's going to, like I said, I think we're going to have probably an 11 or a 10 person vote with like 15 votes. Yeah. Hayley thought she was being humble. Oh, sweetie, you are not being humble at all. And I'm here for it. This is the ORCA pod. We're not here for humility. So
you don't need to be humble.
No.
You killed it. You're great. You destroyed those other teams. You have the strongest team, and you smacked them all down week after week, and you should feel good about it.
Yeah, I agree. We get a conversation of Jacob and Hayley. Marc's playing too hard, and they're not fans of Marc. And they're wanting to. They definitely have Megan as their 3, but they're wanting to bring Altus in and make a 3 with them, so that if I'm worried they're going to be in a situation where they've got a 3 with Altus, a 3 with Megan, and a 3 with Marc, and then if those 3 all come together and talk, it's going to make it that they might be playing a bit too hard.
I think they are playing too hard, but I don't think it would matter. I think they do have that position in the tribe. I think the 2 of them are very, very strong on the tribe. I think they're just trying to circumvent a scenario where Altus, Marc, and Meg join up, which is never going to happen anyway. And now that they're swapping, it doesn't really matter again. So and it's better now because everyone thought they were aligned with the 2 of them. So whoever they've got in their swap positions, I can't recall the exact makeups, is going to be someone they think that they were working with Hayley and Jacob. So I think any of those oranges are going to stick together no matter what, except maybe Marc and Altus. So I find Altus very interesting in the Marc dynamic. Even though Altus voted for Marc, it seems like this is some sort of like one-way grudge. Like it seems like Altus just thinks that Marc's going to be fine with the fact that he voted for him, and like we've all moved on from this, which Marc hasn't, and nor should he, and I fully appreciate that. But Altus just doesn't seem to appreciate the gravity of the game that he is in at all. And there's numerous circumstances of his play that I find quite bemusing.
He's just a chill guy.
He has no stealth. He has no interest in stealth.
No.
He has no interest in deceiving. Like, when he finds the beware advantage, and I know that might be later, but we might as well just talk about all orange right now. And he finds the beware advantage.
And she's like, hey, everyone, look at this.
And then Megan's like, should we tell Marc? He's like, yeah, of course we'll tell Marc. Of course. This is a great comment from the People's Champion. Altus is with the fairies while his tribe is sharpening knives. I feel like Altus...
It's so accurate. But it's like Jacob has a scene with Megan where he's like, I'm starting to like the guy. So
he's chill. He's just chill. And Marc is the opposite of chill.
I don't hate it. Look, if he was actually the super strategic person and this was a strat, like I'm going to appear really chill and whatever, I would be standing that so hard. It's not. That's just who he is as a person, though, but I'm still here for it.
Well, Cath's mentioning the bike accident. Is the potential he's got latent concussion?
Surely he was checked for that.
Yeah, it's very interesting. I find it so interesting that he voted for Marc in that first vote, and which didn't seem very strategic because no one else went for it.
No.
And then he just told Marc, I guess, people are going to find out anyway. And the way
I would have not told anyone. Every single person there would have been like, no, I voted. Like, there's too many votes for anyone to remember specifically which vote was theirs. There's a lot of votes that didn't come out. So when they do like, this was my vote, this was my vote, I would have just been like, no, I voted for Tommy. Of course I did. Yeah,
you're right. I don't think he's a strategic player. I think he's a here for the good time sort of player, and he's not looking to be deceptive in any manner. No. And this was once again another occasion where he wasn't.
Does he know what game he is playing?
Do we like? We were a bit worried that the Beware Advantage was going to be full of dumb phrases last week.
I think it's a terrible Beware Advantage.
You don't like this one?
Well, what does he gain from it?
Nothing.
Like, I can understand they put it on that tribe because there's already an idol in play. So fair enough.
It's going to be on all the tribes.
No. I think it's just on orange so that he can help green and pink find their idols because orange already has one.
But that's the tribes idol.
There isn't one. I don't think there's one on the other two tribes. Otherwise, there's going to be a million clues running around.
So you don't think there's an idol at the orange camp either?
No, Marc has the orange idol, whatever it is. Yeah, I don't think there's other ones on the other tribes.
Interesting, possible. I guess the critical item for this is it does say beware, but it also says advantage, and there's no
advantage. He did not get an advantage.
I guess the advantage is that you can give people.
Oh, Danny liked it. See, we need to hear.
You can give people an idol clue, and that helps forge relationships. But frankly,
I think that's the only benefit of it. But he's the person that he's not going to take any advantage for himself for it. He was convinced by the rest of his tribe to give it to Jess. I think mostly by Megan and their connection, and he was also convinced by his tribe to not give it to the pink one.
Now, what tribe?
Haley has a hard on for hating Tara.
She really doesn't like Tara. Can I say, what tribe did Altus end up on?
Altus did end up on the pink tribe. So that's my question. Does he still have to give it away, or does he automatically get to have the clue and get to have his vote back? The thing did say, you cannot open this.
So he have to give it to
someone else on the pink tribe?
On his tribe, and they can find it together, which he'll be happy to do. He loves that sort of stuff.
Well, yeah, I think that would actually, that's just as good, especially because he is on his own. So if we're going to skip ahead, I've got the tribe breakdowns here.
It's irrelevant.
He is with 3 people from OG Pink. So he's the new guy. So if he is concerned that he's on the outs, I need to pick someone up here. I've got this. I can't open it. Here, you have it. Keep me safe. Now, I don't know if that'll work, but it's something.
Who are the 3? DC?
He's with Kate, DC, and Coach. So basically, Jess and Zoe stayed together. They picked up one from each tribe in Jacob and Tara.
We don't need to do the full thing. I was just trying to I just want to talk about this Beware Advantage because I think this is really fascinating about how he's on the right tribe. He got lucky there, but he can't open it.
Well, I don't know. We'll find out.
Maybe he just opens it. But I like the idea of him sharing it with someone. I think DC would be the smartest person to share it with.
Well, I think you've got Kate and DC who are going to be kind of against each other, and then Coach is going to stick with his people. But he's probably also going to fall in love with Altus and not want to vote for anyone.
You can share it with Kate as well. You can share it with either of them, but I think there's a real advantage. Don't share it with David, who tell everyone about it.
Don't share it with Coach. I think either Kate or DC is your best bet.
But we're talking about a very strategic play that can be made with this very specific advantage that he has. And Altus has not shown us that he is interested in making highly strategic, sneaky plays with his advantages. So, it's going to be very interesting how that plays out. But like that'll be for next week.
Yeah. But anyway, yeah. So
Haley
that's
hates
everything for the
Tara.
orange. Sorry.
Is that what Haley hates Tara? Do you want to go back to that?
Well, I mean, so I've sort of my notes are in chronological order, but if we're just going to stick with orange, yeah, like when they're talking about who they want to give it to, like, oh, we definitely want to give it to someone on green because they need a break, the poor things. But they're like, oh, what about pink? A few people are saying, what about this person? What about this person? And Haley's like, why not just not give it to anyone from pink? Because you only lose your vote for today. I like that it's specified. You only lose your vote for today. You'll get it back tomorrow regardless. So she's like, fuck them. They don't deserve a clue. You get your vote back anyway. Just not give it to them.
I don't mind it.
I don't mind it either. Especially because... Go.
Well, there's no rush to hand it out because they're not going to tribal. But if I'm Altus and I'm going to tribal, if we have lost the challenge, I'm handing these fucking things out immediately.
Yes. As soon as you lose the challenge, whoever's next to you from that tribe, here you go. Take this. Get my vote back. It's not difficult for him to hand it off at the last minute. And especially because he can hand it off at the well as well.
The question about the well, I presume that you can only go to the well with your tribe. You can't randomly encounter other tribe people at the one well. I think you
can, and just no one's doing it.
Well, I don't know. It's never happened. The summit is very specific that occurs at the well.
But they said something about the summit, the doors close, like little curtain thingies.
Cast in the chat, please let us know if you were allowed to just go to that well when other tribes might be there, or was it a situation where...
Yeah, Haley's saying yes.
Why is no one doing this?
And because they said in the thing, you can hand it off at the well. I think the idea was they were supposed to be going to the well, interacting, and just no one's doing it.
Well, that's defeating the whole theme of the season.
I know. Yeah, DC. Yeah, they're all saying you can did. Yeah, Jess saying in Green's case they never had time. Green didn't have time for anything fun.
Well, that's just very disappointing. The whole theme of the season is just collapsing.
Well, I mean, I suppose that the tribes seem to be kind of far away from the well, and you're not just kind of going to sit there and just be like, someone come in, I want to have a chat.
No one's really going for water, perhaps. People when they're got their own well on these LRGs are going for water like all the time because it's your chance to try and break away from your group and have a chat with someone.
Yeah, there was a not so subtle moment from Jacob being like, well, Haley and I will go for water.
Yes. And that's why you're doing it, right? So it's a bit interesting that they haven't had that meetup. Okay, but that makes sense. I do like the strategy from Haley but she's saying don't give it to them like ever, which is ridiculous. But there's no rush to give it until you've lost a challenge.
It's not you have to give it to them before the next whatever. It's just you won't get a vote until you give it off. So yeah, I would just do it at the challenge. Like if they hadn't swapped, they go to a challenge, they lose. Tara's the closest person to me. Here you go, Tara.
I don't care who it is. Yeah, take this. Yeah, 100%. But no rush. I think that's right. I think Haley's view. I think it felt like Haley was encouraging him just to never do it, like and just go into their tribal challenge without a vote. But no, there's no rush.
Yeah. So we get a scene at Pink. They're discussing their jobs and their personal lives. How have they not already talked about this is what I want to know. How is that not like the first icebreaker stuff? Like, oh, this is what I do for work. But anyway, Tara's bored.
I think Tara wanted more interesting conversation. She doesn't like this kumbaya bullshit.
Tara hates it. Tara's not loving life. And Kate was talking to Megan at the challenge and said, oh, yep, Tara definitely has an idol. And so Tara's like, well, fuck my drag. Everyone's hating me.
Why does Tara definitely have an idol? People are just spreading shit about it.
I think it's a bounty. I think because Megan's trying to protect Marc, saying no, he doesn't have it. So they're all saying, oh, Tara got it.
That makes
Haley, that's already what we were discussing.
We discussed this, Haley, at length.
Is it now for him to keep? I don't know.
We've asked that question. He can either do it.
We'll find out next week.
Yeah. We postulated the two situations. I agree. Megan is protecting Marc there. That's very good work from the Orange Tribe. The Boondoggers are incredibly tight.
Yeah. And they're talking about who's going to go to the summit next. And Takan says that he's going to go and not play. And he's talking about how the Pink Tribe already have this big target, a lot of big players. Oh, sweetie, honey, no. I think it's the Orange that is the big players, and you guys are just kind of second fiddle. But that being said, I think at the way it was looking before the swap, I don't know what's going to happen next. But if there was no swap, it would look like it merged. It's going to be orange versus pink with green in the middle, would be my assumption. So he's sort of saying we'll lower our threat level if we don't have all these advantages. For me, if I'm in the middle and deciding which way to go, there's this team that's got all these extra votes and advantages and stuff, and this tribe's got nothing. I'm going with the side that's got extra votes. So
I agree. I feel like this season is now going a bit the way of the Ultimate Sacrifice, Canberra season 2, where everyone got an advantage every bloody episode, and then there were extra advantages at camp. So there's just so many advantages, and some were more powerful. Some were better than others, but ultimately it resulted in advantage getting. But yes, advantages feel like they'll put a target on your back when there's not many of them. But when everyone has like an advantage, then you need to be in on the party.
And so, like I said earlier, it's an extra vote. It's not a super powerful advantage. It's, how many times have we seen an extra vote really make a difference? It's only really going to maybe break a tie. Tara, that comment's too long. I'm not going to read it. I'm sorry. Like, you need to break it up because I can't read it and talk at the same time. But yeah, with extra votes, they're not too powerful. There's a million of them going around. I don't think it was that much of a target on your back to have one. So I think Khan's decision to absolutely say, no, I'm not playing was a silly one. Especially when I think, sorry, for fuck's sake, I'm sorry, girl. I can't multitask and read and whatever.
She's going on about how she hated people. As much as she hated people thinking she had an idol, she was so glad. Otherwise, she was totally clueless because she told people about Marc having Tommy's name, and she assumed people believed him. She showed them the parchment. Yeah, like eventually it should come out. But Megan's protecting Marc there. Look, I don't think you're giving, you're going about Khan not wanting the advantage. That's not why he didn't play. He didn't play because of the masterful work of my boy Marc. Now, look, I may have made some questionable draft decisions this season. Tommy and Cath, rest in peace. We love you. But
you were being influenced by the fact that they were both very active in the chat.
Yeah, I was. And that was a mistake. But Marc, I picked Marc. He's my boy. And the fact that he suckered these two people into just giving him an advantage was an absolute masterstroke.
I think he suckered to Khan. I think Zoe was never going to play, and I think that was absolutely the right call. On a 3-person tribe, you cannot lose your vote. She could not run the risk of losing her vote.
Doesn't Jess have an extra vote?
No, Jess got nothing.
Okay. Yes, all right. Fair call.
And she doesn't, even if she did, she doesn't know. Imagine if someone on that tribe lost their vote. We would have had a challenge at this tribal.
Could Mel have gone to the summit here? Has she gone already?
Mel could have. We didn't really get their discussion. I think earlier Mel had said in a previous episode, she said she wanted to go but didn't want to be seen to want to go. So I think if Zoe would have ended up, she would have been like, all right.
But that was pretty much the writing on the wall for Mel right there. Because if they're not letting her go, so that Zoe, whoever is going is the one that you're not voting out. You're not letting someone go to that who the plan is to vote out. So if Jess was like, I think Zoe should go, then the writing was on the wall for Mel, I think, right there.
I don't think Mel would have risked it either in that scenario.
She probably would. I think she would. I think Mel would risk it. She knew. I think she knew she was on the bottom.
Yeah, maybe. We'll never know.
But a masterful work from Marc. That's all I have to say. He suckered them in. How he's on the bottom. How everyone's after him.
Altus again. I'm taking this risk, and I'm going to play my shot in the dark, and then I'm going. Like if we go tribal, I'm done. Hilariously,
he didn't think that was the case, but he might have been in some trouble had they gone to tribal.
He might have been.
It's actually quite hilarious.
But yeah, look, we see an interesting conversation at Pink while we're still there. Kate, Tara, Khan talking about themselves as the 3. The girls are trying to convince Khan that we need to vote out. DC, and Khan's really not having that. And then we see Coach volunteered to go to Redemption.
I think we should just send him there.
Talking about questionable draft choices, I picked him very early. So,
he wants to get voted out and go and win a Redemption.
Good for him. I think they'll let him.
I think he should go there. That he clearly doesn't want to play the actual game. Just send him to Redemption where he can do the challenges.
I wouldn't be surprised if he does end up going, to be honest. But we'll get there when we talk about the tribe swap.
Yeah.
So yeah, we talked about Orange. We talked about the summit. The challenge. So Danny sent me her notes, and there was something that she said that I also thought at the time until I watched it a second time. It looked like Kyle was helping the Green Tribe. But if you watch, and I think a lot of people saw that, but if you watch it back closely, he comes over and he's like pointing to them where they need to build the puzzle. And it sounds like he's saying it's the pattern on your buff. But it's actually Marc is behind him, physically looking at his buff, saying, guys, this is what we need to build. So on first watch, I was like, is Kyle helping them? But no, he was just, this is what we need to build. And Marc was saying something. So it's just, it's unfortunate timing, but that's what it looked like.
I didn't catch that, and I would never besmirch Kyle with such accusations.
Well, no, Danny's notes was like, is he helping them? And I was like, that's what it looked like to me. Like, I know that they're down and out, but come on. But no, it was just unfortunate timing.
Incredible pickup from, if it was Marc or whoever identified that the symbol was on the buff to help them solve the puzzle. That's a great pickup. I thought this was another fantastic challenge. A great replica of a Survivor challenge. Got a couple of the bumps and bruises that you like to see, a couple of trips. That's always the point of this challenge. No one getting hit in the balls, which is always the classic moment, sadly. So, guys,
that's when someone's got a big long pee and they turn around and whack.
Oh, that's always the classic moment. But they're very well blacked out. You can see they had sort of glasses with the thing over it. And a really cool puzzle, not just a simple puzzle. It's not just like bits here that you put in together. It was a legitimate blocks that have to go in a particular way. It clearly wasn't super easy because they didn't get it immediately. And what do we think though then about the decision of Orange when they once again win a challenge to decide we're going to help Green?
I absolutely would have helped Green.
Why?
Well, because like I said, it looks like it's shaping up to be pink versus orange with green in the middle. Hey, we've helped you in this challenge. And then also, I think they want to be the tribe with the most numbers at merge, which that's a bad call. You don't want to win a 3-tribe format. You don't want to be the tribe with the most numbers. But if they've actually helped Green, if they've said, hey, we're helping you guys, then Green is more likely to side with them at a merge or a swap. And Jess is saying they're trying to win favor with them, which I think that's absolutely the right call to make.
Yeah, but as you said, in the new era, in the 3-tribe format, being the biggest tribe that's never gone to tribal council has never helped any tribe.
No, but they can worry about that later. They can throw a challenge down the track if they're concerned about that, if they're concerned about a Mat Singh Tendang situation. But I think in that moment, the main part, they've already won. They're not voting anyone out. So they don't want Green to lose again. And they want Green to be on their side. So I think helping them is the right call.
The thing about sending Pink, though, is then that gives Pink a chance to have a tribal council, to solidify their numbers, to be a united group, which they actually are not at the moment.
Tribal does tend to unite people.
Yeah, they'd be splitting all over the place. They all go in and they vote, all 4 of them vote for David, for coach. Then, this 2 versus 2 thing, that actually, it's still there, but it's on the back burner. Maybe DC's on the bottom there. Who knows? But the fact is, they would be a united group who voted together against the Oranges, who are already, and take this from someone who was there themselves, who's been in this game and just won challenge after challenge. You start overplaying the people. You don't need to over strategize. And
I think if there was no swap and Pink had gone tribal here, I think Orange would have thrown a challenge down the track, or at least I would have been pushing to do that.
But I wouldn't
and Tara definitely saw value in throwing, but I sat out because I needed to rest my throwing arms.
A 3-2 on Tara. Well, it's still United 3 if that's what happens.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you win too many of these things, you start you got an alliance. Now I'm bored with this alliance, the Marc, Haley, Jacob thing. What other alliance can I set up? And what else can I do? And because you're there to play. You're not there to sit around and win challenges.
But Marc's not going to let a merge happen with Alta still in the game if they're still in that tribe. So he's throwing a challenge before merge. He's ORCA enough to throw a challenge.
Yeah, well, with his bag of tricks as well. Yeah, I think possibly. But the swap has changed with the dynamics on that. I just feel like it's I don't think it's an absolute great outcome for Green to win for them. Like, I don't think it's like a slam dunk. That's the best.
No, but I think it's ultimately about getting Green to wanting to show Green, hey, we want to work with you. Since they're not doing the strategizing at the well.
Well, maybe there should be. Maybe
they should be.
Like, if they'd had conversations at the well and they were united with these
how disappointed do you think production are that nobody's talking at the well? They're literally like, guys, this well is going to remain your center point. You can all come here and talk. And no one is doing it. Production are like, what the? They're literally, the name of the season is one well.
I think the problem is if it's not organized in a formal manner, like, okay, now pick 2 people who are going to the well, or this is the well time. You can go there now. Like, and someone has to go, right? This is the thing. If you just let it be people's choices, the conservative what?
I think they wanted it to be organic.
Yes, but people won't do it. It's too risky. You don't want to be seen as the person who's always wandering off to talk to the other tribe. Like, it's the stupidest thing you could possibly do.
Look, it needs sometimes to be forced. You make decisions in production and they backfire.
Yeah. It happens. I can't see why anyone would risk in a 5-person tribe. We know you didn't have time, Cath, but the other guys, they never went to tribal, so they've got all the time in the world to be having little chats. So the pinks and the oranges could have been going having chats, but it's a risky play. It's a really risky play. Yeah.
Anyway, but yes, ultimately, Green do lose by this much. If they just called it a little bit earlier, we saw Megan called it before they were actually done. That's what you're gonna do. Like, learn from Wendell, call it before you're done. Get Brian and Carl over at your station so that as soon as you're done, they can check it.
It's smart strategy. And then Jess is like, we had it, but we didn't call it. I think they called it when they had it.
I think you got to be back on your mat when you call it, which they weren't.
Yeah.
But anyway, so after the challenge, we go to Orange Tribe for a bit. Marc thinks he single-handedly won that challenge for Orange. More patting themselves on the back. This is a tribe focus.
I have to say, Hayley had a comment in the chat a while ago, King Marc or something. I think she was giving him the credit. To be fair, he did do the calling, and I think he solved the puzzle, so perhaps it was all.
Yeah, no. I'm not saying I disagree with you. I'm just like, he's like, I killed the challenge. Go me. I'm awesome. And now I've got an extra vote. And he tells his tribe about the extra vote. I think another good call. And he's talking about wanting to give it to Hayley, which I think is very smart. If there's a potential of these 2 are in power and they're going to pick a 3rd person, hey, I'm going to give you my extra vote. Now, that might be dumb because they might then vote him out, but it might be enough to be like, okay, Marc's with us.
I think Marc's concerned he's got too many bags of tricks in his bag. It makes him threatening. I think there is the risk of someone stealing your vote, but if he just gives it to Hayley and, it's yours. Like, he said we should share these around. You don't give it to her and say, hold on to this for me. You just give it to her and say, that's yours now.
It's yours. You have it.
We'll work out how to play it together later or whatever, but it's yours because we need to be sharing these advantages. For example, a swap. If we swap, we want as many of us to have advantages as possible so that whoever is in the worst position can use those. Also, they could meet up at the well and pass advantages, but God knows if that's going to happen.
I mean, that might happen now, especially if idols and whatnot are going to be transferred. But yes, then we go to tribal. We already talked about it.
Ed wanted to know, is this smart for Marc? Hayley wants him gone.
Marc doesn't know that Hayley wants him gone.
No. And maybe this brings Hayley back around on him, but I'm not sure. I feel like Hayley's the sort of person, I know she's here in the chat, that if she makes up her mind, then you can't change her mind. She might change her own mind, but you can't change her mind. Yeah. And something like giving her something like that is just as likely to piss her off as it is to make her think good things about you. I feel like once she's gone down the I don't like Marc.
She's not going to. Her opinion is not going to be swayed by you giving her an extra vote.
No.
But just as usual, I will say how much I love her and that she's still my winner pick, and I am very happy. That is one we talked about questionable draft choices. Me picking her first, not one of them. That was a great choice.
My other great draft pick is Jacob because he has winner edit all over him.
Oh yeah, those 2 as a pair. Eden is saying Hayley is a godmother mafia boss. I feel like she'd shun him out and swipe the extra vote. I love it. I love it so much.
Well, it's not really swiping. It's Hayley. That was holding. That was holding JD's vote. There's a difference in holding and giving. It needs to be a gift, not a hold.
Fair. But yeah, look, we already talked about Mel being voted out. Yeah, look, very sad about that. I'm really hoping she comes back in, but we'll see what happens next time. Hopefully there's not more questionable production choices on the challenge. But then we decided to let the players decide if there's a swap or not. But they all vote, and there only needs to be 2 votes for a swap for them to swap.
Fail.
As soon as it was 2 votes, like Jess and Zoe, as if Jess and Zoe are going to choose to stay.
Well, number one, they needed to reset this dynamic, and I assume they set this up without it expecting to be down to a 2-person tribe. Yeah. And once they had a 2-person tribe, they needed to change the outcome where if you say stay, it stays as it is. That's never going to happen because Jess and Zoe are then by themselves and one of them's going next. It needed to be that if you selected stay, then you stayed in your pink and orange tribes, but Jess and Zoe would join one tribe each. That should have been the stay outcome.
Yeah, but ultimately it's a complete shake-up. The votes, interestingly enough, pretty much every member of the orange tribe voted to stay. I was very surprised by Megan choosing to stay because we know how much she wants to be on the same tribe with her bestie Jess. But Jess and Zoe obviously vote for swap, and then all of the pink tribe except for Coach, all 4 of them are like, yeah, nah, mix this up.
They all hate that tribe. They all went out. They did not like. They went out. But yeah, it was too few. Eden's talking about it here as well. Yeah, it should have been 4, maybe 6. I think 6 would have been.
I think they wanted to do swap. I think they shouldn't have even had the vote. They should have just been like, we're swapping.
I would have actually just checked. Yeah, exactly. It was a pointless exercise with the numbers so low and the circumstances. And I do feel that if we had a position where it was like, as I said, Zoe and Jess would be joining each of the tribes, then they might have, voted to stay. Probably not, but if they knew which one they were going to, they should have had that.
They would have voted anyway because they didn't want to have to go to another tribal.
I think it was a bit of a pointless mechanic. I think it was an attempt at something, but it was a bit unnecessary.
It would have been cool if it was a fairly even, if all tribes had gone to if we were at 3 tribes of 4, and then we're deciding to shake it up again. That would have been a very interesting decision. But
interesting, we are going to 3 tribes of 4 now you mention it. It's a very small number.
I think they're all expecting 2 tribes of 6.
Yeah. Who went we all? And it's a very interesting situation.
It is. So I do have a note that I was loving the Jess and Zoe commentary as the buffs are being drawn. That was because they were still separate. They could have a bit more of an open conversation. So I was loving that. Like as soon as Jacob pulled the orange buff, they're like, "Oh, cool. Yep, that's a 3. Whoever's 4th, we're voting them out." And then it was Tara. They're like, "Oh, okay, we don't trust her, so that's fine."
It's just to clarify, Tara noted that the pink tribe all agreed that they would vote. Well, just Coach didn't hear that they had made that point. So they had unity on that call.
Okay.
Let's now talk about these different tribes, the makeup, and what we think is going to happen next week. So you just mentioned the new
orange is Jess and Zoe with Jacob and Tara. I think if they go to tribal, Tara's fucked.
Jacob still doesn't. So to be clear, Jacob still doesn't have a vote.
I forgot Jacob doesn't have a vote.
So Jacob doesn't have a vote. Jess and Zoe don't have any advantages. Tara has an extra vote.
So she could tie it up. And she knows that Jacob doesn't have a vote.
She does know that.
So they could make it a 2-2. Okay. I take it back. That's interesting.
And she could use that to make them vote out Jacob.
Basically. Yeah. Interesting. I love it. Okay. So then green.
Eden's making the point that the revote would be 1-0 if Tara ties.
They vote for Tara on the revote. Yeah. Especially if she's saying vote for Jacob. 2 of them vote for Jake. She puts her 2 votes on Jacob. They vote for Tara. On the revote, Tara doesn't have a vote. Jacob didn't have a vote anyway, so it would be 2-0. There'd only be 1-0 if she votes one of them.
They changed the rules on this with 47. That
don't get me started on that.
You'd still be able to use your second vote. So it would be 1-1.
No, you could. The rule should be anyway. Sorry, my cat's being a pain in the ass. You with an extra vote or a stealer vote, if you still have a vote on the revote, then you get to use it again. It's only if you don't have it. So on a revote, Tara, if she's in the tie, doesn't have a vote, so she doesn't have an extra vote either.
Why not?
And yes, I agree with you. 47. Let's not talk about that because we pretend it didn't happen.
Why not? Why doesn't she have it? The whole reason she doesn't vote is because she can only vote for the other person.
No. The rules are in a tie, because in a three-way tie,
these aren't the 47 rules.
Yeah, no, I'm not. In a three-way tie, the three people who have votes do not vote. But technically, they could vote for one of the other two people. They still have a choice, but they don't vote on a revote. It's always been that way. If you're in a tie, you don't vote on the revote. 47, go away. I love 47. I hated that.
Well, it'll be an interesting outcome with Tara there with her advantage.
Yes, I thought that was going to be a very boring trouble. I forgot about Jacob's no vote. So
also, everyone thinks Tara's got an idol.
They do.
This been spreading around.
This is when Jacob could be like, she doesn't. I know that Marc had it.
True.
So that's going to go out the window. But that'll be
very.
I was asking Prod for clarification extra votes ASAP. I bet you were.
Okay,
so on the new green tribe is Marc, Megan, and Haley, all from Original Orange, with Takan.
They love Takan.
They like Takan, but
Haley said you're safe.
Haley did say you're safe. So is she still wanting to vote out Marc?
Yeah, absolutely.
CK Jules is going to kill you if you don't listen.
I'm listening. I don't mind.
He always listens to me. He's not a normal man.
I don't mind the 47 interpretation, and I think we should be getting
on this stuff. Hated it. Anyway, I think Marc will go there, but he's got the idol, so don't know.
I think he could get a bit sus.
I think the most interesting dynamic will be the new pink tribe with, as we mentioned before, Kate, DC, and Coach, all from Regional Pink with Altus. I don't think Altus is automatically on the bottom. I think that tribe was very, very fractured.
I think Coach puts his hand up to go to redemption.
Yeah, I think they send him that way.
I think he puts his hand up, and DC and Kate are like, great, we're together, or one of us can go about us.
I think the original pink dynamic, it was sort of two pairs and Coach on the outside. I think there was hesitation about voting him out because then you're left with two pairs. I think in this situation, they're probably happy to get rid of him because they know that if they go back, they can still vote at Altus. Now, I think Altus would actually become the swing vote in that situation.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
She's saying she just wanted to make him feel at ease.
Oh, okay.
Well,
okay. Yeah,
that's interesting. I would have to say that, I know she was contemplating voting out Marc, but it's a much harder move to do without Jacob there, who she's locked in with. You've got the comfort of the two of you doing it together and being able to pull off the Marc blindside. If she says about the Marc blindside to Takan, perhaps he blows the whole thing up. You don't know. Yeah. And even Meg could blow it up.
But something else, when Marc was talking about him going to the summit and they were like, who else was there? When he said Takan, there was a distinct eye roll from I don't think Haley is a fan of Takan, actually. She was like, oh, Takan.
Takan doesn't really seem like someone Haley would be super into. It's probably a bit too nice.
That's fair. But that concludes my notes before my TWIOLSH notes. Is there anything else let me check Danny's notes. I think we covered everything she said, but she sent me a few
we covered it. I think we're good. Another great episode.
Danny's dot points about Takan saying they'll let the other tribe get the advantage. She says she totally understands Tara's frustration playing with players who just won't divulge, even if it's a lie. It's so frustrating. Hilarious how adamant Haley is about not gifting the idol. Yeah, everything out. Mel digging herself a threat-sized hole by talking about her connections.
Yeah, that was a bit dumb for Mel.
Yeah. So everything she said we talked about.
That's a good one. When Mel was showing the connections, the look on Zoe's face was like, I gotta get fucking rid of you.
The camera was zooming further in.
And Zoe's like, No, you got to go. We do need to hand out the Brommy. So this season, we've so far given Brommies to Marc, Haley, and controversially Luke.
Yeah, look, I want to give us the whole Orange Tribe. They were just giving ORCA as a whole.
No, right. I want to give it to Tara.
I was going to say Jacob, purely because in the moment when they're doing the group idol hunt, he's like posing for the camera and being a little bit extra. But I'm happy to also give it to Tara.
Tara had some very strong confessionals that were super ORCA in this episode that I feel like really deserve it. Plus, her continued overreacting eye rolls are great. But I do think we should give it to Tara this one.
All right, Tara can have it this week.
The Brommy for this week. Okay, so it's the moment you've all been sticking around for and waiting for. It's another episode of TWIOLSH. Last week, I was able to get the chocolate.
I'm loving having you in the chat tonight.
Last week, I was able to get the chocolate.
Carefully, Jules is staunch of missing Danny, right? Oh, Tara accepts the award. Well, yeah.
Yeah. You don't have to. You don't really get a choice. Now, because Danny's not here, I'm going to turn off the comments, and I won't be able to.
Yeah, Danny doesn't have a laptop, so she can't join. The fuck is a Brommy? Haley, keep up. It's the ORCA of the Episode award. You won it last week, so just be happy.
Brommy is named after the first ever Bromelo, first ever ORCA of the Season award we handed out, which was Sydney Survivor, to Ethan Bromelo, hence the Brommy. Okay, so last week.
Won't be able to, so for TWIOLSH this week, we won't be able to bring your comments up because Danny's not here. CK can't see your comments so that he can't be cheating.
Sorry. All right. So last week we had a great competition with myself and Liz. I was able to get the chocolates. And this week we have another alumni from Backyard Survivor Season 3 Exile. It started a bit of a family legacy with his family playing now in 3 seasons in a row. And of course, Jess being on this season. Let me welcome in. He's been building himself up in the chat with Danny. He thinks he's got what it takes to take me on. He's shaking his head now, but let's bring in Zach. Welcome.
Hey, how are you guys?
I reckon you got your work cut out for you, CK, this week.
I see that you've got Brother of Jess as your title. Didn't your father play in season 4 as well?
Guys, you know.
Didn't your father play in season 4?
Yeah, but this is current.
So he has no recognition.
I can't have all the titles, otherwise it will go off the screen.
Family legacy.
Titles. Okay, so I'm going to remove the comments now. Jules, are you going to do an explanation of what TWIOLSH is for everyone, maybe newbies?
Look, I think by this point you should know, but I'll go through the rules. These are all going to be questions about episode number 4 of the other Australian LRGs. The 4 seasons of Backyard are mandatory. They will all be answered. And then our lovely contestants will each get to have one more question. Zach will choose his fate, will decide CK's. Zach, as usual, the rules with the points, I will ask you a question. You can choose to answer it straight up and you'll get 2 points if you get it correct. But if you get it wrong, CK can answer it and we'll get a point. Or you can choose to hear some multiple choice options, which will only get 1 point and CK cannot steal. I think that's the first time I've got through it all without needing to add in anything because they're complicated rules. But do you have any questions before we begin?
No, I'm ready.
All right. Which season of Backyard would you like to start with?
We'll go season 3.
I did figure you would pick that, so of course I didn't make a question about you.
Yeah.
So Backyard 3, episode 4. At the beginning of the episode, Hal tells Andrew and Jake about his fake idol that he got at Exile. As he went to show them, he was almost caught by another member of the tribe walking up on them. Who was it?
It was Ben.
That's correct. 2 points.
That is correct.
Which season would you like for CK?
Oh, I get to pick.
You get to pick.
He can have season 1.
Season 1. Okay. So the Blue Tribe are at the losers camp. They decide to hide a fake idol at that camp. Whose necklace did they use to make the fake idol?
I don't have very detailed notes on this episode, I have to say. It's less than half a page. It was not inspiring me when I did the rewatch. It's going to be tricky. The Blue Tribe, it's going to be a necklace. So they're making the fake one at the veranda where there's like the hedge. And that's the tribe that lost, I believe. I think that's the tribe that went to tribal council. I think Calvin was on that tribe. I think I could take the options here, but I'm going to have a go. Rhiannon gets booted in this episode, and I reckon they used her necklace.
That's incorrect. Oh, Zach shaking his head. Zach knows.
Yeah, I know.
Zach, would you like to steal?
Yes, I would love to steal. Go ahead.
Yep.
It's Rachel.
It is Rachel. You're on the wrong tribe, CK.
Fail.
All right. Zach, would you like 2 or 4?
4.
Not going to lie, I made this one hard. All right. So at the challenge, an advantage was hidden. It was never found despite it being made more and more obvious each round. By the end, it was fucking sticking out of the thing. I can't believe no one found it. At the end, Kyle showed us and said no one found it, and he said something else. What did he say?
Oh, that is really hard. I don't know. Is it next time or something like that?
It is not. CK, do you
No.
want to try and steal?
Well, I might as well try. We should have gone for the multiple choice on that one, Zach, I reckon.
I'm surprised you didn't.
I know, but then if I went multiple choice, could he have stolen if I got it wrong?
No.
I
Okay.
would have gone for multiple choice.
I did rewatch this episode in preparation. I do recall Kyle saying this.
Same.
So what did you say he says first?
Said, no one found it. Blank.
I feel like it's something like yeah. I feel like it's just if that's the way it goes sometimes or something like that, but I don't know the exact words.
It was no one found it. What can you do?
Yeah, that's what I mean. That was the gist. Like that's the way it goes. But yes,
Yeah.
I don't get the point. That's fine.
All right, so CK, you get Backyard 2. The episode title, I Don't Have the Ingredients, was in reference to a player not having all the pieces they needed for the memory challenge. Who said it?
What? Wow.
I thought that was an easy one.
It's easy, CK.
I don't have the ingredients. This has not been a good week for me. Okay, so just give me the multiple choice. Shame. The shameful multiple choice.
Was
Kind
it
of Zach
Jay,
feeling it.
John, Mitch, or Tristan?
Jay, John, Mitch, or Tristan.
Yeah, the comments are going off at you. They're saying it's easy.
I reckon Mitch.
Zach, do you want to tell us if that was correct?
It's incorrect. It's John.
Yeah. Unfortunately, you don't get to steal for that one.
Yeah, that's okay.
But, you know,
Okay.
CK has 0 points at this point.
Yeah, I know.
Well done.
I used up all my points last week. What can I say?
You did. So you need to steal and get yours right to have a chance of winning. Zach, which season would you like? You did tell me last night what you were going to choose, but you can go a different way. I have questions
No,
for you.
I'm picking Canberra versus the world.
You did tell me you were going to pick Canberra versus the world.
Mhm.
Okay, I did already have that question written, so there's no interference on it. So the challenge involved blindfolded players collecting pieces with one caller. Who was the caller for the new Black Tribe contributing to their win?
Oh,
Eden's saying that's an excellent choice of season, by the way.
Yep. The new Black Tribe. Oh, well, he would. If I take the multiple choice, then CK can't steal. So I should just play strategy, right?
This is true, but I mean, he doesn't get the multiple choice if he wants to steal. Do you want to make it interesting, or do you want to just win by default?
I'll make it interesting for the chat. I'm gonna say. Oh, he might not even be on that tribe. I'll speak it out loud. I'm thinking Aiden, but I'm not exactly sure. I wasn't looking at the callers, but I know Squin wins it for the tribe at the end of the episode, so at least I know she's on that tribe for sure. I'm gonna say Squin.
That's incorrect. CK, do you want to steal?
All right, well, let's work out who was on this tribe because I don't remember the answer. the tribe is
Well, it's
Andrew.
new. Hmm.
It's Aiden. It's Maddie's gone by this point. It's Sab and Bucket Hat. What's her name? Sorry. Anyway, she's not the answer anyway. Sorry, I've forgotten your name. It's lost me from my head. Though I did love you on the season. I reckon. Oh no, my gut's saying Andrew, right? But I don't think it's Andrew because I remember a bit where Andrew's got lost in the absolute weeds or trying to find the puzzle piece. Do you think Andrew would be good at it? It's just such a big, booming voice.
Eden's shocked that you can't remember that person's name. I was going to say her name, but I won't because that might be seen as interfering.
Yeah. I'm saying I'm not having a good thing. I've not had a good night's sleep. We're only 4 hours. I'm blaming that. I'm going to I reckon Zach's right about his original call. I reckon it might have been Aiden.
I hate
Is
this.
that your final answer?
Yeah, it's Aiden.
Yeah, it was Aiden. You were right there, Zach. And yeah, Eden's shocked at the Pauline erasure. So
Pauline, sorry. I'm sorry, Pauline.
All right. So
the
CK,
wheel's
if you
coming
want to
up.
bring up the wheel. If you get this right, we will go to a tiebreaker.
Amazing.
That's the exciting part, right? How to
Playing
make
with
it.
fire. Playing with fire.
Oh,
Stop.
no.
Playing with
I
fire.
should have taken the easy win.
To be fair, the next one was Brisbane, which I think that was the easiest question I wrote of the week. So,
Yeah.
But for playing with fire, you got Canberra 1, 2 in a row. Now you get Melbourne 3 twice in a row. Anyway, in this episode, we revealed that Chloe had named the tribal immunity idol. What name did she give it?
Oh, for fuck's sake. Oh my god, I wasn't there to name idols. I was there to play strategy.
Look, I'm gonna make playing with fire the hardest questions every time.
Yeah, I get it. What did she name that?
Eden's given a funny answer in the chat.
What did she name that lantern? Oh my god. Did she name it a stupid name? Did she name it just a person's name? I feel like she just named it like a stupid name, like a boy's name, like Frank or something. I'm going with Frank.
How the fuck did you get that?
Because I was there.
I know, but you seem to not be sure.
I
was quite proud of my options because one of my multiple choice options I threw Scott in there just for fun. All right,
tiebreaker.
We have to go to a tiebreaker.
Zach, I applaud you for making it interesting and just not taking
the Thank you.
Yeah.
So the tiebreaker, it'll once again be. I have to scroll up because I wrote it in episode 2. The answer is a number and it's the closest to.
Okay.
And you get the first. Or does he get a choice or he goes first?
Do you want to give me the first answer or do you want CK to give me the first answer?
Your choice.
So what is it about? Which season?
It could be about any season. It could be about any LRG. We're outside of the episode rules. It's just anything that I could think of.
Okay. All right. I'll go first. I haven't seen all the LRGs, so he's at an advantage here.
Okay. Prior to the release of Backyard 5, how many episodes of Australian LRGs are there? And I will clarify, I mean episodes only. No meet the cast, no next time on, no trailers, pure episodes. I can see CK doing some maths.
Who did I say was going first? Me or him?
Yeah, you did.
Okay. Oh, and it's closest to, regardless of higher or lower.
Yeah, I don't care about going over or under. It's just closest to.
Okay. I'm going to go 72.
72 for Zach. CK?
So there are 11 seasons, 12 seasons released before this, but you can make it 11 because there's only one episode for Melbourne 1. So roughly they will have about 10 episodes per, which make it about 110. Though Brisbane's short, it's like 8. Though Backyard 4 is 12. So I'm going to just go with like 111.
111 is the exact answer.
There you go.
Wow.
I should have taken the easy win.
No, that was great, Zach. What a great. People love a showdown. That was fantastic. Thank you for coming on and really putting me to the test. I can get the comments back if there's anything interesting there.
It was, Eden thought that the idol name might have been Fuego.
Yeah, well, that was a real hard one. I had a tough time.
Well done, Zach. I thought you were going to get him.
That was great. Honestly, you look, you got a moral victory because you could have taken the W, but you made it interesting for the audience, and it was interesting. It came out to a great outcome, a second tiebreaker. So thank you, Zach, for coming on and absolutely delivering. Just delivering.
Yeah. It means I'm here for TWIOLSH All Stars if it ever happens. You know what
Absolutely,
I mean?
You're here for TWIOLSH All Stars. Absolutely. Thanks,
Look,
Zach.
if we get another big off season like we did before, what was the before Canberra versus the World? Then maybe I'll do like an all-star thing. I'll do a big battle thing.
Perfect. Yeah. Excellent.
That was amazing, Zach. Thank you so much.
No problem. Thanks, guys.
Well, that was fun. What a
wow! Now I have to write another tiebreaker question.
That was a good tiebreaker. That was a great tiebreaker question. Can I just say, great work.
Thank you. I was happy with that one.
The questions are great as always, Jules. These are getting tougher and tougher. I really appreciate you and the work you're putting into
it. I had to make you got a perfect score last week. I had to make them hard.
They were hard. That was a wild one. All right. Thank you so much, Jules. Thank you to Zach. Thank you to Cath for the interview earlier, and for everyone in the chat for being here live and making this show what it is. We love having you here each and every week. Next week, the show is back on Sunday. Tune in, and then we will be back once again with Wednesday. Once again, hopefully joined by Danny and the three of us once again to wax lyrical about all of the fun, excitement of this wonderful season. Until then, we will see you next week. Thank you to everyone listening live, and thank you to everyone listening in the future. We do appreciate you as well. Thank you, Jules.
Thank you.